Sometimes, learning feels heavy, not because the idea is difficult, but because of everything that gathers around it. Methods, steps, rules, sequences, permissions. Do this first. Sit like this. Breathe like that. Say these words. Avoid those actions. And slowly, without anyone noticing, the attention moves away from the simple thing we were trying to see. I notice this in myself often. The moment I try to learn something deeply, my body tightens just a little. The breath becomes controlled. The mind leans forward, as if truth is somewhere ahead of me, waiting to be reached, as if I am not already standing inside it. And that leaning, that subtle effort, creates distance. There is a strange moment when you realize that most of what you've been doing is preparation. Preparing to be ready, preparing to be worthy, preparing to finally begin. And yet life keeps happening in the meantime. Thoughts arise without permission. Feelings appear without instruction. Awareness doesn't wait for rituals to finish. It's already here, quietly watching everything, even the effort to reach it, especially that effort. Upadesa Sahasrī feels like a whisper in the middle of all this noise. Not a shout, not a command, more like someone gently saying, "You can stop arranging things now." Teaching here doesn't come wrapped in ceremony. It doesn't depend on outer form. It doesn't demand a posture, a place, a time of day. It points, and then steps back, almost as if the teaching trusts you more than you trust yourself. I might be wrong, but it feels like this text isn't interested in making you do something new. It feels more interested in undoing something subtle. The habit of thinking that truth is produced by action. The belief that liberation is an outcome. The assumption that effort is always required. Because look closely. Even effort is something you notice. Even discipline appears in awareness. Even the desire to be free comes and goes. So what is it that remains steady while all of this moves? Sometimes teaching happens in a sentence that doesn't feel important. A simple line, almost casual. And later, much later, it returns, not as memory, but as recognition. Like hearing your own name spoken softly in a crowded room. Upadesa Sahasrī carries that quality. It doesn't decorate truth. It doesn't dramatize it. It doesn't turn it into an achievement. It simply removes the obstacles created by misunderstanding. And the biggest misunderstanding might be this: that awareness needs to be reached. Think about how you know you are tired, or calm, or distracted. You don't perform a ritual to know it. You don't analyze it deeply. You just know. The knowing is immediate, effortless, before language, before explanation. This text seems to trust that kind of knowing. It doesn't say, build awareness. It gently hints, notice what is already aware. And when rituals fall away, something unexpected happens. There is a quiet honesty, no performance, no spiritual image to maintain, no role to play, just the raw, ordinary experience of being here, breathing, listening, feeling the weight of the body, watching thoughts rise and fall like weather. Teaching without ritual feels less like instruction and more like companionship, as if someone is sitting beside you, not in front of you, not above you, just nearby, pointing occasionally, and then falling silent. Silence plays a strange role here, not as something sacred or dramatic, just as space. The kind of space that lets things settle. In rituals, silence is often filled with expectation. Something is supposed to happen. Something is supposed to open. But here, silence is allowed to be what it already is. Neutral, spacious, uninterested in results. And in that kind of silence, attention relaxes. It stops trying to become something else. I find it interesting how the mind loves structure. It feels safe inside systems. If I do A, B will follow. If I repeat this long enough, something will change. And maybe that works for many things in life. Skills, habits, health. But when it comes to seeing what you already are, Structure can become a veil. A beautiful veil, yes. Meaningful, ancient, powerful, but still a veil. Upadesha Sahasrī doesn't attack rituals. It just doesn't depend on them. And that difference matters, because dependence subtly reinforces the idea that truth is conditional, that it requires circumstances. And yet, awareness doesn't switch off when circumstances change. It's present in confusion, present in clarity, present in devotion, present in doubt. Even now, as these words are being heard, something is quietly aware of hearing. There's a gentle confidence in this teaching. Not arrogance, not certainty, more like ease. As if it knows it doesn't need to convince you. It only needs to point once, or twice, or not at all. Because eventually, something in you recognizes itself, not as a thought, not as an experience, but as the background that never left. Sometimes I wonder if the deepest teaching is simply permission. Permission to stop seeking. Permission to rest as what is already functioning perfectly. Seeing, knowing, being, no initiation required. No threshold to cross, no badge to earn. Just an honest look at what remains when you stop trying to improve the moment. And yet, even this understanding can become an idea. Something the mind holds, something it repeats, something it defends. The text seems aware of this trap too, which is why it doesn't linger. It doesn't build philosophy. It doesn't elaborate endlessly. It points and moves on, almost nudging you back into direct seeing. As this settles, something else begins to feel relevant. A quiet curiosity arises. If awareness doesn't need ritual, if truth isn't produced by action, then what about all the movements that still happen inside us? Desire, aversion, attachment, withdrawal, the subtle pulling towards some things and pushing away from others. How do those movements relate to clarity? How do we live in the world without getting tangled in it? The thought doesn't arrive loudly. It just drifts in like a soft question about seeing clearly and letting go without force.